Hey everybody, welcome to our special Christmas edition of the Collecting the King show. Before we get started, if you like the shows, then hit the button, and the like button that is, and then hit the subscribe button, and then hit the bell, and you'll be notified about all future upcoming shows. Again, I just want to thank all of the subscribers for helping us hit the 1,000 mark, and now we're doing even better. I think we're like 1,200 subscribers, so that's really good. Thank you so much for doing that. We appreciate that. So this is episode 24, and today's show is simply titled Christmas with Elvis. So we're going to break our format a little bit here from what we've been doing. Last three shows, we did EPs and we did the Camden albums and things like that. And, we kind of went through the history of all that. There were officially 3 Christmas LPs released by RCA when Elvis was alive. The first one was called Elvis's Christmas Album, which came out in 1957. The next one was Elvis Sings the Wonderful World of Christmas, which was in 1972. So these 2 albums were basically all the masters of every recording that he did, every Christmas song. The first Christmas album should not be mistaken with the second Christmas album that came out, I think, 1958. That was just basically a repackage of the first Christmas album, the beginning of their obsession with repackaging material. And of course, Christmas is Christmas, so, how many Christmas albums do people do? I think Neil Diamond is on his 10th Christmas album, and I don't even know if he even does new songs. I mean, it's kind of the same songs over and over again, and then he kind of sings them over and over again. But, Elvis never did that. He did 2 albums of Christmas material. And at the time that he did the recordings, some of them, like they went in the studio to do the Christmas album, and then if they had some time, they would do an extra song or two. Mostly, I think, in the 70s, or they might have done it in the 50s too. But that was the only time that he recorded Christmas songs. But if you look at the amount of albums that RCA put out afterwards, it's like, holy cow! You would think that he did like 500 Christmas songs when it wasn't that many. I think maybe at best, 25 to 30 Christmas songs maybe. After the release of Elvis Sings the Wonderful World of Christmas, the next Christmas release that came out was an RCA Camden album. And on the RCA Camden album, the cover was kind of put together similar to the first reissue of the Christmas album, using a picture of Elvis and then putting like a snowy background behind him to give it that winter look. The picture itself is a shot from Speedway where he's wearing a blue windbreaker, and it's actually a great looking cover. It's a really cool looking cover. The album featured mostly Elvis's early Christmas songs, okay, but with the addition of another single release called "Mama Likes the Roses." And although it wasn't an actual Christmas song, it was a single that at the time had not been released on LP. And to be honest, I'm not really sure if it ever was released on an LP after that. I think the only way you could get Mama Like the Roses on an LP was the Camden Christmas album. And you kind of wonder, like, at that point in time, the other Camdens, as you know, later on, they did a Burning Love Camden where they took a single that was on the charts from the 70s and made it and put it on a Camden album. And then later they did the same thing with Separate Ways. So you kind of wonder, maybe they got the idea when they put Mama Like the Roses on the Christmas album, and that might have started the trend, or that's where they got the idea to use a current single to help sell a Camden album. But whatever the case might be, Mama Like the Roses appeared on the album along with all of Elvis's early Christmas songs. When Pickwick picked up the catalog and started releasing all the Camden albums, they got the Christmas album and they changed the cover. And it's kind of cool, actually. Pickwick's cover is kind of cool. But what's even more interesting is this isn't the Pickwick one. This is the Pickwick cover. But in the 80s, RCA released this Christmas album on an RCA Special Products type thing on a Camden label. So it's a blue Camden label with the Pickwick cover, but it's an RCA special music release. So very strange. These 2 albums get confused all the time. I mean, the Pickwick one and this one always get confused because the covers are identical. The only way that you can tell is RCA up in the upper corner. Look for RCA. If you see RCA, But anyway, this is the rare of, if you have a choice between getting the Pickwick and the RCA one with this cover, get the RCA. This is what it looks like on the back, and that gives you an idea. The back is completely different because I think the Pickwick one advertises other releases, Pickwick releases. This one just simply tells you what's on the album, and it gives you the details of being an RCA release. And I think in the middle on the top is the special music logo that's at the top to show you it's a special release. Okay, so this is pretty cool. This is a pretty cool album. Out of the two, I mean, in my collection, I have the Pickwick album, but I also have this too. This album came out before the one I just showed you. The one I showed you came out a little later in the 80s, about mid-80s. But this one came out in 1982. And this album here has really more hits, like a combination of hits of his early Christmas songs as well as his second album. For example, it has O Come All Ye Faithful, which is from the 70s, Silver Bells, 70s. I'll Be Home on Christmas Day is 70s, but then it goes back to the 50s and brings in Blue Christmas, Santa Claus is Back in Town, If Every Day Was Like Christmas, and then Christmas Message from Elvis, where he talks, and they're singing Silent Night in the background, or he comes in singing it at one point. So this album is interesting, and you should probably have it in your collection if you're a collector, because it's not just a compilation of Christmas songs, but it does have some unique things. The Christmas Message from Elvis, Silent Night, I'm not sure exactly where it's from, but it's a promotional thing he did back in the 50s for Christmas. And it might have had to do with the Christmas show that he did, or that reel-to-reel tape where it was a special radio show and Elvis had a special message, he said. But anyway, that's on here. And the biggest thing about this album, and Johnny B told me this, and I forgot about it, was this has the full, complete version of Merry Christmas Baby, which was edited for the Elvis Sings the Wonderful World of Christmas album. But you can get the full version, and I think, let me see if there's a time on it. Yeah, this is almost 8 minutes long, but this is the only album that has that on it. It has since been released, I believe, on an FTD release, the FTD version of Elvis Sings the Wonderful World of Christmas. But it was released on that many, many, many years into the 2000s later. But on vinyl, I believe this is the only way you can get the full version of Merry Christmas Baby. But now that we're in the 80s, RCA reissued Elvis's first Christmas album again in again, except this time in 1985. It's a reproduction of the Christmas album from 1957. It even has a gatefold cover. It opens up, and the pictures that were inside the gatefold cover are actually in here. So the cool thing about it is it comes with a hype sticker right here, and it's also on green vinyl. In 1985, they were celebrating Elvis's, I think it was RCA's 50th anniversary. It couldn't have been Elvis's, was it? No, it was RCA, I think. RCA 50th anniversary. This one's on green vinyl. Reconsider Baby is on blue vinyl. Then there's Always on My Mind on purple vinyl. And then last but not least, Valentine Gift for You on red. So there were 4 albums that came out on colored vinyl, and this Christmas album was one of them. But again, this is another package of the original Elvis Christmas album, and kind of cool because they tried to copy and duplicate the original, although the binding is just regular cardboard. The original one, the binding for the Christmas album was actually some kind of, some kind of fabric or something to hold it together, kind of like a book, and had like gold writing and silver writing on the edge. But anyway, this was the next release that they did. And that was kind of, if I'm correct, that was the last RCA Christmas album that was released, around that time period. After that, boy, did things go crazy. I mean, absolutely bonkers. It almost seemed like there was a Christmas album coming out almost every year, especially after 92 or 90. Because if you remember in the 90s, the early 90s, RCA and many companies stopped making records. Everybody kept saying the vinyl was dead, it's over with, so it was easy to go and find records in garage sales and everything because everybody was buying CDs. So here is a few examples. This is the RCA version of that Christmas album that I showed you. This is a RCA Camden Special Products release. So this is basically the CD equivalent of that other album I showed you, and you'll notice it has the cover of the Pickwick, the Pickwick version of the Elvis's Christmas album from Camden. Then we have the CD version of Memories of Christmas, the one I just showed you. And this of course, like I said, has all that great unreleased stuff, including Merry Christmas Baby. So there's another one. Then it just kept going. I don't know what the years these are, but here's another release that came out, and this is not too long ago. If you remember, Elvis did this thing with the Royal Philharmonic Orchestra. He did one called If I Could Dream, and the other one was The Wonder of You. And it was basically Elvis vocals done with the Royal Philharmonic Orchestra backing him up. Some stuff was really, really great. But this was a Christmas one they did, and this was like the third release out of that series of Royal Philharmonic releases. I don't know. I wasn't very impressed with it. I mean, some of Elvis's Christmas songs were so unique, and they sounded so great by themselves. Santa Bring My Baby Back to Me, Santa Claus is Back in Town, some of that. Some stuff you should just leave alone. And I think the same thing with the other two Philharmonic albums. You should have just left them alone. Some of the songs were better off left alone. But Burning Love was incredible. I remember when I first heard Burning Love with the Royal Philharmonic, I went, holy cow, this is fantastic. And there's a few others, Steamroller Blues, whatever. But anyway, here's another Christmas release, more recent, and with the Royal Philharmonic Orchestra. All right, at least they were trying to do something original, right? They were trying to add something to it instead of just a repackage. And then speaking of original, now this is from Canada, I believe. It's a Canadian release. And the only reason I have this in my collection is because it kind of goes with the 30 number one hits. Because you have 30 number one hits, and then in Canada, they released Second to None with a silver cover like this, almost identical. And then the Christmas one has the same kind of cover, except it's red. So kind of cool. So that's the reason I have it. But again, these are Christmas duets. Some of them work, some of them don't. I think White Christmas with Amy Grant is pretty good. And of course, Silver Bells with Anne Murray. Why would that not be good? I mean, Elvis even said he loved Anne Murray's version of that, which is why he recorded it on The Wonderful World of Christmas. But Blue Christmas with Martina McBride is pretty good. So it's a nice set and everything, and at least they're trying to be original. They're trying to do something different with the Christmas songs, if you know what I mean. So, and it didn't end there. There were plenty of releases that eventually came out on that came out on cassette. Now, for example, here is, this is from the 70s, and this is an original. I believe it has. Oh no, it doesn't have the paper. I thought it had the paper thing, a cassette, but anyway, I'm pretty sure this is the first release of the Christmas album. I could be wrong. But anyway, here's an example. When it came out on album, it came out on cassette. This also came out on cassette, but I think this came out much later. But this is Elvis's first Christmas album on cassette. Then, of course, there's that good old Memories of Elvis, again on cassette. Or not again, but it's on cassette. I showed you the LP and the CD. Now, later on, let's show this again. This is actually the Pickwick. No, this is the special music one. So this is that one I showed you. That was the Pickwick album cover, which RCA released under the Camden label with that Pickwick cover. Okay, so there's that. And, of course, now, later on, I think this is after... Yeah, this is after vinyl stopped. In the 90s, they continued to make cassettes, which is something I wasn't really aware of until Joe Tunzi was on my show, and we were talking about cassettes and 8-tracks. And this album here was never on vinyl, but it's a Christmas CD It came out as a CD, I'm sorry. And I think it was a pop-up CD. It was kind of like this tall box type CD, and you open it up and there was like Graceland was inside, like a cutout version of Graceland. But anyway, this is the cassette version of that. I'm not sure. Let me see what's on this thing. Silver Bells, I'll Be Home for Christmas. Alternate version. Oh, there's an alternate version on here. On a Snowy Christmas Night is on here. It Won't Seem Like Christmas Without You. Unreleased alternate take. So, okay, so this here has alternate takes on it of the Christmas songs. That's kind of unusual. I mean, that would warrant, a reason to have this. But I'm sure these alternates have probably been released on Follow That Dreams release of Wonderful World of Christmas. But whatever the case might be, again, RCA trying to be creative and using alternate takes and, different versions of songs to help sell the CD, which came out the same time as the cassette. I pulled a bunch of records here, folks, so I'm sorry if I'm a little disorganized here, but let me show you. This is cool because, folks, this is rigid. And those of you who know anything about the Camdens, the first four were rigid. And then, of course, they switched to the Dynaflex. So try and find a Christmas album that's rigid. Very, very hard to do. And this is a rigid vinyl of the original Elvis Christmas album on Camden. Again, now here's the Pickwick one. Now I can show you the Pickwick. This is the Pickwick release. Okay, and you'll notice that the Pickwick logo is up there in the corner. All right, where the other one that I showed you has the RCA logo. God, there's just so many of these things. I got them all over the place here. Let's see what else I got. Here's the Wonderful World of Christmas. But the reason I'm showing you this one is this is the ANL catalog number. And it's not the first pressing. Anytime anybody does a Christmas product, they want to put it out every Christmas time. And that's why whenever you go to a store, you'll always see Christmas albums around Christmas time. You know that. But when the very first ones came out, they had some bonuses and stuff with it. But this was a later edition, and this was an ANL 1 1936 LP. But this was like the final reissue of Wonderful World of Christmas. You know what? I had to show you some of my favorite foreign albums or Christmas albums, which I thought were pretty cool. This one is really cool. I always like this one. This is called Blue Christmas, and this, I believe, is from Canada. It's a Canadian release, and the thing that's cool about it is it's a kind of an offshoot of the original Christmas album. I mean, I'm pretty sure that's the same picture of Elvis in the middle on one of the gift packs. And this one has, oh, here we go. This one actually has Mama Liked the Roses. I just noticed this. But this is from Canada, so I was still correct about Mama Likes the Roses being only on the American Camden. This is really neat. This is a 12-inch single from Europe, and I think it's from the UK. Not 100% sure, but I think it is. It's a picture disc. All right, well, but not really a picture disc. This is really strange. One of my favorite pictures of Elvis, by the way, from I believe it's from The Trouble with Girls. This is a 12-inch single of It Won't Seem Like Christmas Without You, and then on the other side is Merry Christmas Baby. It's a record with a big giant label. Look at the label on this thing. I don't know who came up with the idea, but you have to admit it's pretty cool. Big giant picture of Elvis and the vinyl around him, and then that's one side, and then here's the other side. That's kind of neat. I wonder if I got this in my collection. I got it for sale, but maybe I should keep this. Anyway, all right, so let's see. Is it the 8-minute version? You know what? It doesn't say. So I guess you'd have to play it. Let me see if I could tell by looking at the grooves. Because sometimes you can look at the grooves and tell. I don't think so. I think this might be the edited version. But whatever the case might be, if any viewer out there knows, if you have this, especially if you're from England, or London, whatever, maybe you could tell me, is this version of Merry Christmas Baby, is this the 8-minute version or the edited version? But anyway, it's pretty cool. You know what? I think I'm going to keep this. These are just some of the ones that I had personally that I thought I would show you. Okay, so let's slip up into the years a little bit here. And let me show you some more of the recent releases. You'll see behind me there's already some. This one up here is called Merry Christmas Baby. Oh shit, now I'm wondering, does this have the full version of Merry Christmas Baby on it? Oh my God, I don't even know. Well, anyway, it's called Merry Christmas Baby, and that's a Walmart special. Comes with some kind of clear vinyl. I don't know. But, you know, they have all these different vinyls. I mean, I don't know if you can see behind me, but there's one that's white right over my shoulder. Nipper's kind of hiding it, but there's one that comes out of white. And then the one behind my hat is the snowflake one. And it's basically the same album. It's this album. All right, it's this album here. Because when it first came out, this is the first release, it's on black vinyl. Okay? And Merry Christmas Baby's on this one too. So, boy, I hope I didn't make a fool out of myself by saying that it was only available on that 80s. Well, it was only available on the 80s. I mean, these are much later. You're in the 21st century now, so it would make sense that they would eventually release it. But anyway, here's the classic album. This is from Walmart, black vinyl. And then they kept going. They put out a white vinyl, which is over here. And then behind my hat, a snowflake version. You know, who knows? This year they're probably going to have another one. I don't know. Here is the one we mentioned, the Royal Philharmonic album. This one I got only because I collect vinyl and, you know, had to have it in the collection. It has the sticker. You know, I look online all the time, and especially in Europe, I just can't believe the Christmas stuff. I mean, they keep repackaging it, and the only appeal is that sometimes they do some really great covers. I just saw some kind of a Christmas box set on there on the internet today, and it's a beautiful picture of Elvis from '69 or something, dressed in a suit and a Christmas background, and the cover is absolutely gorgeous. But it's the same material from the two albums. I mean, that's all there is to it. Follow That Dream, as I mentioned before, you know, they had to put out the Christmas album as a part of their series, and Wonderful World of Christmas. So here is the Follow That Dream Christmas album. This is kind of cool because it has several alternate takes on it, and that's what FTD is famous for. You know, usually they'll give you the standard album, and then they'll add stuff like the bonus tracks on here, which are kind of unusual, is My Wish Came True, Treat Me Nice, Don't, A Peace in the Valley, and It Is No Secret What God Can Do. And what's funny is, I don't know if I mentioned it before, but I don't know, well, maybe I haven't mentioned it, but when Elvis recorded the Christmas songs, you know, he would go in for that session, and then he would record a few extras, you know, at the same time. So these songs here could have been recorded at the same session, like Don't and My Wish Came True. I don't know for sure. But anyway, this is an example of an FTD release of a Christmas album. Okay, and now, folks, we're going to bring out the black record case again. This seems to be a popular thing with the show. Everybody wants to see what's in it. I have a couple cool things, and they're Christmas related. For those who don't remember, the box is my personal record case that I take with me to the shows, and I usually put unique albums in there, usually higher priced ones. Last time I showed you the Rigid, That's the Way It Is, and something else. So I wanted to find something Christmas-wise that I could show you. And unfortunately, there's not a whole lot. What I would love to have shown you was an original Christmas album, okay? Which, by the way, I should probably mention, there is a very, very rare Christmas album that was made in 1957. A lot of you may know this. Some of you may not know this. I think I know the person who owns it. But anyway, what happened was in New York, there was a guy in a printing plant, in one of the RCA's plants, who decided that they were going to print one copy of Elvis's Christmas album in 1957 on red vinyl. So they hung on to it for many, many years, and then finally advertised to sell it. Now, I know the guy who bought it. I can't remember how much he paid for it, but it was a lot of money. So now the guy still has it, and I think he still has it. And the last I heard, he wanted $25,000 for it. Don't know if he ever sold it, but you have to admit that's got to be the rarest Elvis Christmas album there is, because there was only one made. It was pressed on red vinyl. I think it was the red vinyl they were using for their classical albums or whatever at the time. And it was a keepsake. It was just one of a kind. I would love to be able to reach in the case and show you that album. But I do have a few rare ones here. Let's start with this. And this one's, pretty common, but I think it's unique, and I wanted to show it to you. Let me put down my case here. All right, this is the Wonderful World of Christmas. But what's unique about it and makes it really valuable is it has all of the bonus stuff. Like number one, it still has the shrink wrap. It has the sticker, okay, which advertises the bonus postcard. And it has the bonus postcard right there. To make it even more unique, and you don't see it very often, it is a promo. And it has a embossed promo stamp, if I could find it. Not that I could show it to you because it doesn't show up on the camera. There it is. It's up here, folks, and you can't see it, but I'll try zooming in on it if you can see it, but it's right there. One of these days we'll talk about promos, but an embossed promo stamp, what it is this is a copy that went to radio stations. And what they did was they didn't want to ruin the cover by punching a hole in it or anything like that. And they didn't. And those of you who think that the holes punched in the record covers are promos, they're not. Those are cutouts. Those are holes and buzz cuts they put in the records that are returned to the factory that did not sell. And record stores had the right, I believe, to return them if they were not selling well. Okay, but those are buzz cuts. They're not promos. The promos are marked promo, and we'll get into that in a future show. But anyway, this has a embossed stamp where they just basically took this, like printing this press thing, and they put the corner of the album down and they went crunch. And then, if you look at in the right light, it says, not for sale, promotional use only. Okay, so yes, a lot of you may have this album in your collection. A lot of collectors do, but do you have a promo? So there are some Christmas albums out there that are worth a significant amount of money. And I've only had this one a few times. I think about maybe 3 or 4 times I've had this album. This is another Wonderful World of Christmas album. And as you can see, it has the card, but it's weird. Let me explain. This is very strange that this card is here. And you might say, okay, so what's the big deal, right? Well, the big deal is it's worth $200. And you're like, what? Why is that $200? Well, it's worth $200 because it's tan. And so the first one were the LSP number, LSP 4579, which was the orange label. It came with the bonus card and the sticker, like I showed you with that promo. That was the first release. Then they decided, okay, well, we're not going to be giving away the postcard anymore, so they took the sticker off. This is a pressing from 1976. So what must have happened is they ran the course of the Christmas album on orange label. So in 76, when they changed the tan label, they said, okay, let's do the Christmas album too. One day we're going to do a whole show on tan labels, and I'm going to explain to you why tan labels are highly collectible, and if you're going to start collecting Elvis, you may want to just start with the tan labels and be happy, because if you can get all the tans, you got quite a bit of money there. Anyway, like I said, $200. It's the tan label. God only knows how many of these are made. I don't think there were a lot made. I really don't, because I think in my 40 years of doing Elvis, selling Elvis and being a collector, oh God, I think I've seen the tan label. This is probably the 4th or 5th one I've ever had. Okay, so it is absolutely rare. Now, as I was saying, when I got this, I found it very odd, because usually this tan label comes in a different sleeve. All right. We've talked about the inner sleeves, and one day I'll do a show about that. But this inner sleeve is from 71. I thought this was an unusual sleeve because normally the tan comes in a sleeve with the star. And if you know anything about the inner sleeves, there's a star up here and up here. And it shows the catalog. So when I first got this, I looked at the inner sleeve and I said, oh, I thought that's kind of weird. That's usually an orange. And technically it is. That's usually a sleeve where the orange label comes in. But then you could probably figure out my further confusion after I got it, and I looked at it and opened it up, and this fell out. And I'm thinking, what is this doing in here? I mean, this is not supposed to be in here. You know, this card is 71. You know, unless I found something really unique here, I don't know. It's kind of confusing. Maybe you should give me some of your thoughts on this. I'm not really sure, but this album is definitely the LSP cover. This is the first cover. This is a weird orange inner sleeve, and with a 76 record in it, and the bonus card. So does that mean that they put the bonus card in this album all the way up to 1976? I don't know. Let's talk a little bit about the songs. Santa Claus is Back in Town is probably my favorite Elvis Christmas song. The story goes, and I don't know how true this is, but I was told when they were doing the Christmas album in 1957, they wanted kind of a rocky blues song. And it was kind of missing that because it had, stuff like It Is No Secret What God Can Do and, some very Silent Night and some very serious Christmas songs. But they wanted to add, a little rock and roll to it because Elvis was the king of rock and roll, right? They went up to Leiber and Stoller, the two writers of some of Elvis' greatest 50s hits like Jailhouse Rock and such, said, hey, we need a rocker. We need something different. So I don't know if they did it overnight. Some people say, oh, yeah, they went out and they wrote it in one night and came back the next day. Okay, here's the song. It's like an Elvis Christmas song. I know Blue Christmas is really identified with Elvis quite a bit. And that's a good one, too. But the whole part where he says, Santa Claus is coming down your chimney tonight. There's some suggestive stuff in there. I didn't realize when I was a kid I loved the song, but as I got older, I thought, wait a minute, that sounds rather suggestive. But anyway, what a great song. That's one of my favorite Christmas songs. Blue Christmas is very, very, another favorite. I love that song. Merry Christmas Baby, I love that song too, but I like the full version because it's like a jam session, and Elvis is really getting nasty with it and real bluesy. White Christmas, I also like that because it's done in the same style as a Christmas song done by a 60s group or a 50s group back then. Not 60s, 50s. I don't remember the name of the group. Maybe you do. You can tell me in the comments. I'll Be Home for Christmas, which is in one of my favorite Christmas movies, Lethal Weapon. That one, I love that one too. That one's one of my favorites, I'll Be Home for Christmas. Those are just a handful of songs of my favorite Elvis Christmas songs. The ones I absolutely can't stand, and there are some. They're just some on the 70s albums that he should have left alone. And not that his voice wasn't good. It was done early 70s. He was at the peak of his career, his recording career. Winter Wonderland, I know, some of you probably like that. I just don't like his version of that. I don't know. I just don't like it. It just doesn't thrill me. Another one I don't like very much is Holly Leaves and Christmas Trees. I don't know why. It just doesn't do anything for me. But those are just a few of the ones I didn't care for. My final thoughts on it are, those were my favorites and my least favorites, and the constant repackaging of the records drives me crazy. But as a collector, I'll probably get the ones I like. But you know what? At this point in time, when it comes to collecting Elvis's Christmas albums, you're really buying them for the cover because there's not really much left to do. I mean, everything's been released. Everything. Ernst Jorgensen told me a long time ago in Memphis that there's just nothing left. So when it comes to the Christmas albums, it's really a matter of the packaging. And Johnny B, I know, he collects anything and everything if it's a cool looking cover. He doesn't play any of the records. He doesn't even have a turntable. Okay, but he collects the records and based on the cover. So I would say that the future of the Christmas album, that's it. It's going to be colored vinyl, and it'll be the way the cover looks, what pictures, the graphics. And that's going to be the future of the Christmas albums, because all the material's been out, and that's the end of that. I did also want to say that a lot of people know that Elvis was very spiritual. His gospel music was very meaningful to him. A lot of it was shown in the Elvis movie. His roots were in gospel music. But I do believe that Elvis believed in Jesus Christ, and that he did love Jesus, and he loved God. And Christmas was special to him, and gospel was special to him. And I think that that's the reason why his Grammy Awards was for his religious music. And Elvis was just a man. I mean, he was just an ordinary guy, And yeah, did he sin? Yeah, but don't you? Don't I? Of course. We are sinners. That's all there is to it. You accept Jesus Christ, and your sins are taken away. And you're forgiven for those sins. Because you're human, you can't change it. And Elvis knew that. And it's sad because there were so many things that went wrong with his life, as it was shown in the movie. Did he cheat on Priscilla? Yeah, he did. Did he do things that he probably shouldn't have done? Yeah, but he was a sinner. But the thing about Elvis is he always came back to God. God was his main force, his main drive. And he loved God, he loved Jesus, and it shows in his music. And that's one of the reasons why I think his Christmas songs are the best Christmas songs ever recorded, and you can feel it in his voice and the way he sings them. Okay, so a couple more things before we wrap up. Number one, I just want to confirm this, okay, folks? I got to confirm this. As you know what happened, I opened up a Moody Blue album in the last show and had no stickers on it, and I thought for sure it was black. I just want to go on a record one more time about Moody Blue and just say, I absolutely know for a fact that I had a copy of Moody Blue with one sticker, sealed, opened it, and it was black. I also had a sealed copy without stickers, opened it up, and it was black. So I just want to go on the record to say I'm not crazy. There are black records in those sealed copies. Why though they weren't on the show when I opened them, I don't know, but they do exist. I even have one in my collection, my personal collection. I have a copy of Moody Blue on black with one sticker, and I got it off eBay and opened it up, and there it was. So I know I'm just confirming that. Guess what this is, folks? Joe Tunzi's new book. It finally happened. It's like I told you, when I got out of the hospital, I got a phone call from him, and he said, guess what? I finished the book. I'll send you a copy. So here it is. And just go to the link, and I believe it's available, obviously, because I've got it. And to tell you the truth, it is really a cool book. I mean, it's got some really great stuff in here. I mean, I love the cassettes. It shows you all of, like all the paper cassettes, and then the ones that were printed right on the plastic. It has 8 tracks, a bunch of 8 tracks. And this is not a price guide, folks, just so you know. He doesn't go into any prices, but, he just kind of shows you the very first, cassettes, the very first 8 tracks, including the clamshell 8 tracks, which are very, very valuable. I hear they're going to eBay for as much as $500, $600 for a sealed clamshell plastic case. He even has the box sets and shows you the cassettes that went inside and the 8 tracks, because they all came out that way, not just vinyl, but 8 tracks and cassettes. Oh, and here's something cool. Here's the quads. A lot of people don't realize it, but Aloha from Hawaii was not the only quad 8-track. There were also 4 others, including the ones you see here. Then there's the rare tapes. He has tapes that are unusual for different reasons, like double feature tapes and odds and ends of one-time releases. Here's some tapes that were never released with different covers. These were covers that they were thinking about using for different releases, and they didn't end up using them. They were concepts. So without doing a whole show on this, I just wanted to show you what it looks like. Here's the back cover. All right, and it says, I hope you will like the new book. Sincerely, Joseph A. Tonzi. Okay, so there it is, folks. The new book is out. People who collect cassettes and everything love it. And Jules, I know you're going to love this book for sure, because I know you're a big cassette maniac like I am. So it's out. I do want to mention a couple things. I am selling on eBay under the seller name Collecting the King. So if you look up Collecting the King under the sellers, you'll find the items that I'm putting on. But I do want to mention that eBay has. I have not sold on eBay in a long time, and there are a lot of changes, and there's a lot of charges, and all kinds of crazy stuff going on. And I'm in the process of kind of learning how this whole thing works. So I want to apologize to all my international viewers of the show, but we're not shipping overseas as of yet. It doesn't mean we won't do it, but I have to learn more about international shipping. And eBay has so many rules and so many things that could go wrong when you ship overseas. It's tough. It's really just better for my international viewers. If you have something you're looking for, just you contact me on on my email, and I'll let you know if I have it. And then we could do business directly. We don't have to go through eBay, because the fees they charge are crazy, and I don't necessarily trust them as far as shipping. Shipping is a big concern, because think about it. If you're shipping to Germany from the United States, anything can go wrong. The package could get lost, it could get damaged, and then eBay intervenes and brings in their rules and regulations and everything. Again, it doesn't mean I won't do it. It just means that right now I think it's better that I keep learning about it, and then when the time comes that I'll ship international, I'll let you know. But for now, if you're a United States viewer, you can go to eBay, and the seller name is Collecting the King, and I have items on there right now, and I put new items on every week. Don't forget to send me your inquiries and want lists to collectingtheking@gmail.com for pricing, shipping, and payment details. We have over 1,000 Elvis 45 CDs and LPs in stock, as well as RCA promotional items, sheet music, authentic Las Vegas and tour souvenirs, and more. We don't have a list or catalog available, which is why we encourage you to send inquiries and want lists. If we don't have something you're looking for, we might be able to find it for you. So don't forget to contact us at collectingtheking@gmail.com. I have a special message for you. So here is a special message, Christmas message, holiday message from Johnny B.
Hi folks, this is Johnny B., the world famous Elvis disciple from Collecting the King show. I'd like to wish all of you a very, very Merry Christmas and a Happy New Year, and a very blessed and healthy Happy New Year. Thank you. Thank you very much.
Okay, folks, that's our Christmas show. I want to wish everybody a Merry Christmas and a Happy New Year, and we are out of here.
That's it.
It's over. Okay, we're done.
All right.
I got one shot.
You got enough.